I don't know anyone, I know in my life, up until the last 20 years or so, I don't know of anyone who have ever had something good happen in their lives and it stayed that way. It didn't turn to, or a bad feeling, whether it's meeting someone or making a lot of money or getting a new car or having a baby or whatever. You feel good, but it doesn't last. And so I started thinking, why is that? I know now, but because I remember when I used to date a lot, and I remember once I dated this girl, long story short, and she was so fine. Did the preacher say fine? Y'all know what I mean by fine, right? All the guys know what fine means. And it built my ego in such a manner that I used to work for this hospital, and I used to deliberately have her to come to lunch. And then I would deliberately walk through the hospital with her, all in the cafeteria, so that all my friends and all the guys can see me with her. And it just built my ego. But then after a while, she started getting on my nerve. And so I didn't feel good about her anymore. I'm ready to switch to another one so I can feel good. Anybody ever done that? And I never paused for a moment to find out how come that feeling left, and then the best I could do is look for something else to make me feel good again. Instead of pausing to see what changed, was it her or me? How come I thought it was good and now it's not good? You know what I mean? Anybody ever done that in your life? You have paused?
You listened to that song where it said beauty's only skin deep?
Yeah, but the only thing I did to it was dance on it, or when we broke up, I sang to it, In Matthew 6, verse 19 through 21, it says, "Do not store up treasures for yourselves on earth, where moth and woodworms destroy them, and thieves can break in and steal. But store up treasures for yourselves in heaven, where neither moth nor woodworms destroy them, and thieves cannot break in and steal. For whatever your treasure is, there your heart will be too." What I know now that I didn't know then is that I was on an ego trip. I was in a fallen state of being, and so all of my decisions were made on what I thought and felt. If it was brand new, I thought of it as brand new, and I thought of it as good, and I felt good. Not realizing that when you are angry, when you are a resentful, judgmental person, you live in the darkness of your imagination. And your father, Satan, is always making decisions for you. And so your imagination makes decisions. So is a man thinking, so as he is. And so I would get these new things, and right away, my thought would tell me, this is good. And I'm like, wow, this is good. Thinking it's normal and thinking that what I'm thinking is normal. And I would think, wow, this is good. This is a beautiful woman. This is a great car. This is a great this. And I would absolutely feel good about it because I didn't know that my thoughts were making decisions for me and then were causing me to identify with this new and exciting thing, whatever it may be. It will make me identify with it, and so I would find joy in that because I couldn't see what was working on my behalf and working against me, always working on my ego. And so I would get this thing and I would totally identify with it, feel good about it, think that it is good. And then after a while, it started to wear off, and the thoughts started to give me different impressions about it. Oh, look how mean this woman is, or she's out of control, or she's this. So I started to not get the same excitement from it anymore because my thoughts are still working on me, telling me now that it's no good, or it's trouble, or whatever it is. So the feeling of good will fade away, and now the feeling of bad will come. Whatever that bad feeling is, don't like it the way it is, want something better. But I didn't know that I was being fed by my thoughts. And so as I'm losing, I remember breaking up with girls, and as I'm losing the girl, I would go stone insane. I would singing by the dock of the bay. Anybody ever done that? Yeah. There's a song now called "You Cut Me Open and I Bleed." You ever heard that song? You cut me open, still bleed, whatever it says. But I know that feeling because when it's fade away, I'm so identified with this as being good, and now I'm losing the good, and it ain't good. It feel bad. It feel like I'm losing my soul. It's like I'm losing my own identity, not realizing that the thought made the decision that it was good. And so I identify with that, and not realizing that this is not who I am. It was just a situation in my life. Hooking up with a woman is not who I am. Or a woman hooking up with a man is not who she is. You shouldn't get a sense of identity from it. It's just a physical situation in your life, but it's not who you is. And because I was blinded by my ego, who you are. Thank you, who you are. When you're black, you can say who you is. Forgive me, I'm black. But you're right, who you are. Not realizing it wasn't who I am. And but I got this identity from everything that I would get, that not even knowing it though. And then when I'm losing it, I would literally fight to keep it. You know what I mean? Anybody ever done that?
Oh yeah.
You're like, especially when you're dating and you're hooked on the man or the woman. You fight to keep this thing, even though you know you shouldn't have it, but it's like it becomes part of who you are. Your imagination has made a decision that this is good. The same thing can happen with a job. You can get a job and be so excited about it, and because you're disconnected from the light within, you're an angry person. You think this job is good. And then a few days later, a week later, the job is not so good. It's the same job. Nothing has changed except your thought about the job. And so I realized over the last 21 years that inside of all of us, there is a peaceful reality, a calm place, where all decisions are made from that place, and it has nothing to do with the physical things that are happening, and it has nothing to do with you making decision. It's just a calm, peaceful place that you live from. And so when these people, places, and things come into your life, you see it as a situation in life, but not as who you are. And so if your mind tries to tell you this is a good thing or a bad thing, you're able to reject it by just observing it so that you don't get a sense of identity from it. Because if you notice in life, nothing is the same always. It's constantly changing. Everything that you come in contact with is constantly changing. Have you noticed that?
Yes, sir.
And so, but what people don't realize, because you're of your father, the darkness, you're of the darkness, you are going along with it because you're making decisions about it. Well, not you, but this thing made a home in you is making decisions about everything you do. And whenever it makes a decision for you and you believe that is your decision, you suffer. You lose. And that's why if you can find this place inside and live from there, you would not make a decision about right or wrong. You'll live in reality. You would live in the now or right here in this place, and then the world is rotating around you and you're not connected to it. And so when things are constantly changing, the cycle is repeating itself, you're still calm and moving forward. But if you're not in that place where you're guided by the light, and God said, be in the world but not of it. Right. And see, when you make those decisions, you're setting up treasure in the world to suffer from it. Someone can steal it, take it, it can make you go up and down. That's your treasure. When you decide this woman is good, you're setting up treasures on earth so you can suffer. But if you can just accept it as it is and don't make a decision good or bad, then it come and go, but you suffer not for it. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Pat,
Yeah.
what do you think about that now?
Very makes sense.
I'm sorry?
It makes sense.
Yeah. But I never considered like my belief in a person as being treasure set on earth. Have you? You know, I never considered, I thought of treasure as a house, a money, a car. I never thought of it as a relationship with another person. You know, God, I've always heard people say, well, you know, don't put your heart into your house. It's not God, it's not who you are, right? And so that's easy. But I never heard anyone say, putting myself into a person is my treasure too. And when I lose it, it causes conflict in my life. Or when I judge it as being good, I'm sooner or later going to judge it as being bad. Have you heard that before?
Yes. I am.
Isn't that interesting though?
Yes.
But you gotta be, this is why God wants you to know yourself, because he wants you to see how the darkness of your imagination connects you to the world and just destroys you. His purpose is to rob, steal, and kill. And he can only do that by deceiving you. And if you're connected to it, you're gonna die. Uh-huh. Why y'all so quiet now?
We got it.
We're trying to think of what we connected to.
Anything that you make a decision, well, it make it for you, but you think you're making it. But anything that you make a decision about, you're connected to it. The moment you say that this is good and this is bad, you're connected. And people who are living in darkness are making decisions about everything and don't even know it. And then as soon as it's not working, this good is not working, they go to bad. Well, this is bad. And now you want to kill it. So you're always making decisions, but because you're blind, you don't see that you're making decisions. And men and women who make decisions, people who make decisions, is God. And you should never know the real God until you can get away from that. But when you find him within, it never changes. It's always good, but there's no feeling about it. You don't feel good, and you don't feel bad. You just live. When you're connected with the light, with truth, it's like when the cycle comes, and it does come. If you notice, there's nothing in the physical world that doesn't change. It's here today and gone tomorrow. But it's like being in the middle of a merry-go-round. It's just going around, but you're still calm and moving forward. And the good thing about it is that God would take care of you in those moments. You never have to worry about anything. But if you're not connected to the light within, then you're going in that circle with it. In relationships, in business ships, in financial ships, in whatever ship. You're going in that circle. And most people are doing it all in the name of Jesus. And they don't say, well, if I'm with God, and he's telling me not to be of the world, be in it but not of it, how come I'm of the world? Why am I up and down? Why am I making bad decisions? How come I'm going up and down with my decisions? It's because you have not connected to the light yet. You claim that you have, but you really haven't, because when you connect to this source that guides you, you can't go with the other source that used to control you. But if you're still going with it, then you have not connected. And I want you to know that so you don't be deceived by that. There's no fear, no doubt, no worry. There's nothing but stillness there. And you constantly live, and it's not based on how you feel at all. And you don't find yourself chasing the world at a point where you're willing to do anything for it. I've been there. I know what that feels like. I would give my soul to stay with a woman, or giving my soul for a dollar bill, or giving my soul for a job, or whatever, because I didn't understand what was going on with me, and there was nobody around to tell me. They would preach about it, but they wouldn't lay it out so I could get some understanding about what was wrong, what was going on. So when you're fighting one another, when you're fighting in these relationships, or you're afraid of money, it's because you have made a decision about that relationship. You made that decision. Well, you were influenced and didn't know that you were influenced. You made a decision that it was good. That's why not all but most, 99.99999, 0.9% of relationships end up in trouble because when you first meet, you think, wow, this is good. And then if you're crazy enough to get married, right after the honeymoon, I know people who broke up at the honeymoon. They knew it was over because they made a decision, this is not good. Instead of just observing and living it, letting it happen on its own. You can't make decisions and survive. That makes sense?